Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab of pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday in Major League Baseball. First up, we got some afternoon baseball. This one between the Cardinals and the Braves. We got Miles Mikolas and Bryce Elder on the mound. Two starting pitchers that have struggled quite a bit. There's no doubt about that. We got ERAs above 7 for both of these starters. But when you look at the starters' matchups against the current rosters for the other teams, Mikolas in about 125 plate appearances against Atlanta. Pretty low strikeout rate, a low walk rate, but a high expected slugging percentage at .623. Next xwOBA at .399. The Braves have definitely had his number over the years, and Mikolas pitching in the National League throughout his career. He's faced a good amount of these Braves hitters quite a bit, and he has struggled. And when you look at Bryce Elder in about 50 plate appearances, so a smaller sample size, but still decent sample, 32% strikeout rate, a very low walk rate, and a .248 xwOBA. The Cardinals' current hitters probably some of the best numbers that Bryce Elder's had against any team in the league. So I think Bryce Elder pitches well enough here. Not a starter that I've backed too often over the years, but I think the offense backs him up. I think the bullpen's also superior. So give me the Braves in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds and the Miami Marlins. We got Brady Singer and Sandy Alcantara on the mound. Sandy has struggled recently, and his ERA is now above 7 on the season. His last game against the Phillies, 2 innings, 6 runs, a homer, and 2 walks to go with it. He's given up now in his last 7 2/3 combined, 10 earned runs and 6 walks. So his control's been off, and the Reds have been inconsistent offensively. We saw them go through a very long shutout streak where I think it was 35 plus innings where they didn't score a run. And then, of course, on Sunday, they scored 24 runs in one game against the Orioles. But I think this is a spot where Cincinnati does wake up offensively, at least in the beginning of this game. And I think on the other side, the Marlins have shown this is a lineup that not a lot of people, including myself, did not expect to be too dangerous in 2025, just when you look at the names on paper. But they've been definitely a lot better than expectations. They're putting the ball in play often. Their strikeout rate's still a little bit steep, but you look at the underlying numbers, expected batting average, expected slugging percentage. The Marlins not as bad as expectations. I think they'll be able to get the Singer, who's also not really in the best form. We saw him go 4 1/3, three earned runs, 4 total runs in his last start against the Mariners. I think the Marlins can find a couple of runs in the first 5, so give me the over in the first 5 innings between Cincinnati and Miami. Next up, we got the New York Yankees taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Carlos Rodon and Luis Ortiz on the mound. This is a situation where I think the price is right with the home team. I think the Guardians have the superior bullpen. They've hit lefties pretty well to start 2025. I know Rodon's coming off one of his best starts of the season, but overall, he's been very inconsistent in 2025. And, Luis Ortiz, his ERA is steep right now at 5.48, but that was because of the first start of the year against the Padres where he gave up 7 runs. His last 3, he's been excellent. And you got to mention, it's a weak strength of schedule. The Pirates, Royals, and Angels in those last 3 starts, but 2 of those ended up being Guardians wins. His last game against Pittsburgh, he was even down early, but was able to battle back, give the Guardians 5 innings, and end up with 8 strikeouts and a win. I'm going to roll with the Guardians in this one at a great price at Progressive Field. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the New York Mets. We got Zach Wheeler and David Peterson on the mound. I think this is going to be a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel at Citi Field. I like both of these starters in the particular matchups. Philadelphia over the years has been very strong against left-handed pitching, but David Peterson's having a great start to the season. I've mentioned, last year, you look at the numbers, the expected numbers, there were certainly regression concerns, and you can make the same case in 2025, but Peterson has been able to get out of a lot of jams. He's got good strikeout stuff, so even though the control can be an issue, sometimes he gives up some sharp contact. He's been able to limit the damage all of this year and all last year, basically, with the low ERA. So I think he can pitch pretty well against a Phillies team. It's got good numbers against lefties, but has a 26% strikeout rate against southpaws. And Zach Wheeler, of course, one of the best starters in the National League, bounced back in his last game after he was struggling a bit. I think we see a low-scoring game. Give me the under in Phillies-Mets. Next up, the San Diego Padres taking on the Detroit Tigers. Kyle Hart and Reese Olson are the starters. Now, the Tigers have not been anything special against left-handed pitching this season. They're right around league average in team OPS and ISO, which is not great numbers because overall the league has not been the best against lefties to start the year in general. But I also think that when you look at Kyle Hart and the last game against the Astros, really struggled with 5 runs, a couple of homers, 10 base hits given up. I still think Detroit can get to him for a few early. And Reese Olson, while he struggled in the beginning of his season, he's been a lot better. Recently his last start was the best start of the season. 5 innings, a shutout ball, 5 strikeouts, and a 6-1 Tigers win. The Tigers are actually backing him up. Last year, Olson pitched really well at the beginning of the season. Tigers didn't back him up, so he had a bad losing record despite pitching really well. Now he's got an ERA of 4.5, which is not the best for Reese Olson, and the Tigers are 3-1 in his games because their offense has been a lot better. But I think the Tigers win this game. They score enough. Give me Detroit on the money line. Next up, we got the Orioles and the Nationals. Tomoyuki Sugano and Trevor Williams are the starters. I'm going to lean towards the over in this game. It's not my favorite game on the board, and honestly, this is not my favorite card in general in Major League Baseball. But I do think that, while Williams pitched pretty well in his last game against the Pirates, that's a Pirates team that's been one of the worst lineups in baseball this season. I think the Orioles can find a few runs off of Williams. He struggled in his only home start of the season, 5 innings, 3 runs, homer, 2 walks to go with it. So I think the Orioles get on the board early, but I also think the Nationals are going to chip in. Sugano's pitching well recently, 7 innings, 2 runs his last start against the Guardians, but only 3 strikeouts. He gave up 2 home runs, makes it 4 home runs he's given up in his last 3 starts combined, and he hasn't even really faced the toughest, strength of schedule. You could argue the Nationals aren't the toughest lineup either, but Nationals Park, over the years, we've seen some high-scoring games there. I think we see more in this one, and the Nationals bullpen's been miserable. Orioles bullpen's been inconsistent, so I'm going to go with the over in Orioles-Nationals. Next up, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Chicago Cubs. No official starter for LA, but we should see Matthew Boyd going for Chicago. Now, Matthew Boyd pitched against these Dodgers at Dodger Stadium on April 11th, and it was a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs, 7 strikeouts. Cubs did not back him up offensively, so they lost that game 3-0, but I do think they will in this game. I mean, the Dodgers right now, this would have been Bobby Miller's start, but he was brought down to AAA after he really struggled in that first season debut against the Rockies. As a result, the Dodgers recalled Noah Davis, so potentially he could get some action in this game, but otherwise, maybe a more of a bullpen game for the Dodgers, and I think the Cubs will be able to score some runs early. Back up Matthew Boyd, who's had pretty good numbers against the current Dodgers lineup. I think we see the Cubs take this game. I'm going to go with Chicago on the money line at Wrigley Field. Next up, the Minnesota Twins taking on the Chicago White Sox. No official starter for Chicago, but we should see David Festa going for the Twins. Now, David Festa was struggling in spring training. He wasn't the sharpest in the minor leagues, but he gets the call up to the major leagues and pitched his first 9 innings of work of shutout baseball with 10 strikeouts. He did give up 1 unearned run, so not completely shutout baseball, but otherwise, he's been excellent. I mean, no home runs given up, just a couple of walks. The control's been there. The strikeout numbers are there. I think he pitches pretty well against the weakest lineup in baseball. And Chicago, no official starter. If it's more of a bullpen game, even though the Twins' offense has suffered this season, I think they'll be able to do enough damage to win and cover this run line. So I'm going to roll with the Twins on the run line at home. Next up, we've got the Rockies and the Royals. We've got Michael Lorenzen and German Marquez as the starters. And I think the Royals score 6+ runs. I think they go over their team total, but I also think the full game goes over, as I think the Rockies can chip in a few runs as well against Michael Lorenzen, who really has not impressed me to start this season. ERA of 4.57. He pitched poorly in that last game against the Tigers. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks to go with it. A lot of base runners right now given up by Lorenzen, and not a lot of, not great strikeout stuff to go with it to get out of some jams. And even though the Rockies have been miserable offensively, especially on the road, I think they'll be able to do some damage against Lorenzen. On the other side, Marquez, in his last 2 games, he's given up 12 runs combined in 5 1/3 innings, 2 homers, and 13 hits to go with it. The Royals, they've also not been great offensively against right-handed pitching, but this is a breakout spot, I think. And you look at the final scores for the Rockies with Marquez on the mound this season, 6 runs, 7 runs, 8 and 8 given up in those 4 games. That's why I think the Royals score those 6+ runs. Maybe take an alternate team total as well, but give me the Royals and Rockies over the total at Kauffman Stadium. Next up, we got the Toronto Blue Jays and the Houston Astros. Bowden Francis and Ryan Gusto on the mound. I like the under in this game, as you've got 2 teams ranked 25th and 26th respectively in team OPS against right-handed pitching going into Tuesday. 2 starting pitchers that are in good form, although Ryan Gusto in his last start against the Padres, a little bit concerning for me. So that's why I will take the Blue Jays in the first 5 innings on the money line. Gusto giving up 9 hits in 5 innings against the Padres last time out. A lot of opportunities for San Diego in that game. I think Toronto will be able to take advantage of a few of those, find the lead early, and I think it could be a similar scoreline to what you saw from Bowden Francis in his last start against the Mariners, 3-1 the final, where Francis went 6 innings, 1 run against Seattle. I'm going to roll with the under in the full game and the Blue Jays in the first 5. Next are the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Andrew Heaney and Jack Kohanowitz are the starters. Another situation where I do think the road team has the starting pitching advantage. Heaney's been excellent, probably, other than Paul Skeens, the most reliable option in this Pirates rotation, while Kohanowitz has struggled, an ERA above 6. I think the Pirates, not a great offense, but I think they'll be able to score early rather than late, and I think they'll have the lead through the first 5 innings, so give me the Buccos on the first 5 money line. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Taj Bradley and Eduardo Rodriguez are the starters. I am going to lean towards Arizona in this game, but it's a tough one because I could see the arguments made for Tampa Bay. I do expect some positive regression for Tampa against lefties going forward because while their OPS and ISO have really struggled, their BABIP is super low and their walk rate's also super high. So I do think we'll see some better numbers from them against lefties offensively. And the problem for me, though, is Taj Bradley, not in great form, struggled in that last game against the Yankees, giving up 6 runs at Steinbrenner Field. And then now you're playing the Diamondbacks, the best offense in baseball against right-handed pitching so far this year at Chase Field, another hitter-friendly ballpark. I just don't think the Rays have enough here to keep up. So I'm going to go with Diamondbacks on the money line in this one. Next up, we got the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants. Freddie Peralta and Logan Webb are the starters. These are 2 ace-level starting pitchers that are in great form right now. I expect both of them to pitch well in this game. The difference for me is I do think that Logan Webb, not only does he have a lot of experience at Oracle Park and great numbers at home in his career, but he's also a more efficient starting pitcher, usually the starter between these two that'll go deeper into ball games. Now, Peralta did have an 8-inning performance against the Royals on April 2nd, but outside of that game, he did not go 6+ innings in a single start. He's only gone more than 5 1/3 innings once this year, and that was against the Royals, while Logan Webb has gone 6+ innings in 3 of his first 5 starts, going 7 innings against the Reds and the Astros of combined 1-run baseball, and then his last game against the Angels, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 12 strikeouts. I think Webb will be able to pitch deeper into this ball game, and if Peralta's out by the 5th inning because of his pitch count, he's a very strikeout-dependent starter. Sometimes the walks pile up. I think the Giants will have an advantage because even though I think both of these bullpens are kind of middle of the pack, the Giants having the advantage of having to use their bullpen in the 8th or 9th inning while the Brewers have to enter the game in the 6th or 7th, that's a big difference here, especially when it comes to high leverage arms. Add to the fact the Giants are at home, Logan Webb pitches so well there. I got to go with the Giants and the under in this one. Next up, we got the Texas Rangers taking on the Athletics. We got Kumar Rocker and JP Sears as the starters. It's another tough game in my opinion because JP Sears has good numbers against the current Rangers hitters, but the Rangers have hit lefties quite well in 2025 to start. And, Sears struggled in his first and only home start this year against the Mets. He was only able to go 4 innings, giving up 3 runs. And on the other side, Kumar Rocker, we've seen 2 really good outings, like the last start against the Angels, 7 innings of 3-run ball with 8 strikeouts. We've also seen 2 really, really bad outings, going a 6 1/3 combined against the Mariners and Reds on the road, his 2 only road starts, giving up 9 runs, 12 hits, a couple homers, 4 walks. So right now on the road, Rocker has a 12.79 ERA. It's really tough to back him on the road at Sacramento in a minor league ballpark where we've seen some really high-scoring games. So for that reason, I got to roll with the Athletics on the money line in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.